Hi everyone, this is Devleena welcoming you all once again to another iconic episode of Icons Behind Brands. I'm with another special guest today, Ms. Smita Murarka, who is the ex-CMO of Corporate and Brand Digital at Duroflex. A full stack and award winning marketer with over 19 years of experience, Smita has worked in categories like fashion and FMCG brands. She has worked with companies like Splash Landmark Group, Lifestyle, Amante, and Duroflex. A warm welcome to you, Smita.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Smita, such vast experience. You have worked in, the legacy brands like Lifestyles, Landmark Group, Duroflex. I would be very curious to know about your journey and background so far.
Yeah, I really resonate with something that Steve Jobs had once said that you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only do it looking backwards. So now, when I look at my experiences, it really looks like it was meant to happen in a certain haphazard way while it was happening. But it seems absolutely, sensible for me that I took those steps. So, right from whether it was starting with a brand consulting firm, which is part of Madison now, Brandcom, I moved on to Landmark. I did product in Splash, something that I hadn't, studied or got an experience with, but I managed product reporting to the Dubai team in my early years, got a lot of experience, did brand management there for the brand lifestyle, moved on to lingerie in 2014 beginning when lingerie was pretty nascent. Definitely the modern way of D2C lingerie was non-existent, and to move on from a big box retailer to a lingerie brand was something unusual. And while I'd done so much fashion, lifestyle categories, the opportunity of Duroflex came. It came just before the pandemic. So I joined, in fact, before the pandemic, not when the world had changed.
Okay.
But it placed me, in a right time to take opportunity of the changing sensibilities, or rather be at the crux of changing the health quotient of Indians through sleep. So that's what we did at Duroflex. Completely different, boring commodity category pre-pandemic. Today, Duroflex is more a lifestyle changing, health oriented brand. So I think all these experiences have been where I've been part of a sunrise category, where the category has been transformed, and most of the stints, and definitely Amante and Duroflex, have been change makers for the category. We've become thought leaders or voice of the category during the point that I was there. So it just gives you confidence of being of a marketer's importance. Usually a lot of people believe that marketing is a support function, but honestly, brands are the reason why they exist, is because of great marketing and marketing acumen behind them. So that's why they become brands, right? Otherwise they're not brands. So I think for me now it's really about breaking the myth to younger marketers that please don't look at yourselves just as a as a box in the organization or as a function in the organization. You can really pivot businesses, you can pivot what the organization is doing basis consumer insight. So that's something very exciting for me right now, and that's what I am working on to kind of tell a lot of brands how should they think and drive their business growth.
That's pretty interesting, Smita, to know, the shift in the mindset, what you have just mentioned, that don't think you are just one function or one part of the organization. You have all the power to pivot a category, and the examples are here. I remember, a few years back when Amante came, that was, I think, one of the first of in this particular category to come in
the real omni-channel brand, if you call it.
Yes, that's right. So how has the changes and challenges been? Because you have seen a category, we are taking the example of Duroflex as well, where it was something different, as you said, from boring to unboring. So how was the changes and challenges been so far, like for you in different brands?
Right. Brand building is a combination of three things. One is taking advantage of the timing, two, having a very strong value proposition, and third, really bringing in consumer centricity within the organization and outside. So, within the organization means bringing the voice of the consumer inside. What do they really want? What do they think about the category or brand? What changes you should do, or what you should enhance and grow further, what they like, and therefore then communicating that outwards to attract new consumers, right? So for me it's really these three.
So what was the journey in terms of, I'm asking about, what was the market localization strategy for this, from one region to various regions? So why this is important, and what was the strategy behind it? If you could just shed some lights into that.
Sure. I think, digital gives us this great tool of data, of insight readily. Earlier, marketers had to do on ground studies, researches, really depend on third party data. But today, digital gives a lot of power in the hands of marketers with data. And if that's combined with great insight and decision making and, taking the right moves for the brand, shifting the strategic levers, I think that's a winning strategy. The minute pandemic hit, we started working towards going digital, and within 3-4 months, we were ready with our digital channels. We went onto marketplaces. We had our website, and we did a lot of social media. So we became a leading brand on social media as well. That gave us a lot of insight on where are those consumers coming from, which are the parts of the country, what do they like about the brand, and therefore gave us confidence that this brand is something that will be accepted and has stickiness into parts of North India or Western India. A lot of things, a lot of places outside South, and also what are the kind of price points that could work.
Going forward for a celebrity brand ambassador, so how does that help, and what is your suggestion for brands and businesses for choosing their brand ambassador? Like what should we think, or what should do's and don'ts for this?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of thinking that went behind us choosing Alia Bhatt. And probably that's what worked for us. So typically this category was earlier more male dominated or more older couple, not so young, definitely not, strong female voice. And it was more very transactionally, either getting somebody associated with sports, which is again male cricket. So very different. And when we started looking at the options, of course, some of these similar options was there. But then our task was to become a unboring brand, more younger, millennial friendly brand, attract gender neutral perspective, so not be completely male driven or just female, and take somebody who's at the prime of their career. So when we made this decision, she had a lot of future projects, and she was looking like she's going to really ace it. And now that is coming true, right? We got her about 2 years back. So really she's number one in her game right now. And I think understanding those insights. So every step we've looked at data, but also combine insight, also combine what a need gap for the brand is. And that's a suggestion that, just don't go for somebody who's big today, because tomorrow might be another day, and it might be a wrong decision. Secondly, just don't go for any personality. The personality of the celebrity should match with what you want the brand to become or already is. For us, we wanted Duroflex to become an unapologetic young millennial brand, which stands for honesty and quality. And plus, Alia Bhatt was on her own a big believer in sleep, and she would post a lot about sleep herself. That was a connect, that she's not somebody like, if you took on somebody who doesn't sleep or doesn't care, then it would be a dissonance. So she's a big believer of sleep, and she continuously talks about it. So that is an immediate connect. So all in all, I think the value system of the celebrity naturally should match with the brand. The personality should be what you're aiming the brand to become or already is. And it should also be giving you ROI at the end of the day. So for us, we wanted in North and Western India, and she's a Bollywood celebrity, so that really works. She has become top of her game. So there's a lot of thinking that you can put into every decision, and of course, choose something that may play out the way you've imagined it to be.
Right. So, what is the future of marketing, and how do you think about how the marketing 5.0 is shaping up? So, and how should marketers be prepared for this?
See, I think marketing is one function that you shouldn't prepare for. And as a marketer, you should be extremely agile, right? Because our world can tumble down even for the business that we are associated with. So tomorrow, our consumer profile might change. Suddenly, like now, recession is happening, COVID had happened. So we have to be absolutely geared up to be prepared for the uncertain time. At the same time, value what we have built and the longer plan, as I keep saying. Now, there has been this big conversation of, oh, digital is all data and we should have a lot of data experts, more number centric, or the traditional thinking that marketers are more creative and they don't know numbers. I think these are all myths. In fact, if someone is placed as a team or as a CMO, someone is well placed to be at the crux of growing brands, as I said in my beginning statement as well. You're in the business of building brands, right? You're not of just selling, and brands is all about having great marketing, great communication, and now with digital you have the weapon of data.
So, Smita, you have worked as a CMO in different brands, right? Fast growing organizations. So, how does a typical day of CMO looks like?
Again, I don't think there is anything typical about a CMO's day or role, but there's a lot of things that we need to handle. Definitely, the team itself that we have, again, because it's not a type of acumen or skill sets that they bring. A great marketing team is a combination of experiences. In fact, I always like to hire very differently from different backgrounds. So at Duroflex, I think all my team members were not from this industry, were from very different brands and categories, because that's a kind of insight. And even with me, right, as I said, I was from lingerie. So I think building a team is something very important in a marketer's role, and that is always constantly evolving. It's not a fixed. So every other day you have either to hire or grow somebody. So I think team management is a large part, really understanding what the team's problems are, solving it.
So, what are some of the learnings, from various organizations you have learned, you have been associated for so far? So, I think that would be a very good value addition for our viewers and listeners.
Again, see, what I'm going to say is something from my experience and what I think works for my kind of personality. Very first is absolute chemistry in the team, and especially if you're in senior leadership, then definitely, the chemistry is very important. Because if you're somebody who's going to bring in radical ideas or lateral thinking, there should be ability to value that and understand that across the team members. So at leadership level, of course, then you trickle it down and that's more palatable. But at leadership level, or if you're joining under somebody, then your boss, who really is your voice, right? So I think chemistry and having appreciation for your thought process is something as your final deciding factor to join an organization or an assignment. No matter what you do, if you don't have that at all, it's very difficult to get things done. And a marketer's job can only be as.
What is your favorite work memory?
Actually, in my early years, Clash, because that was my first international opportunity where I really got to travel to Dubai very frequently, interact with the Dubai team, meet various country people. So it was a huge exposure, and that set up the stage for confidence for what's the possibilities out there. So that was a starting point for some great memories.
Nice. So what has changed the post-pandemic experiences as a CMO? You have seen both the lives, right? Pre and post.
Yeah, I think not only for myself, but for everyone around, be prepared for the non obvious, be
Mm-hmm.
prepared for the world to turn upside down even more, the
Mm-hmm.
VUCA world, as we call it. I think be ready and embrace anything that comes your way.
So, what advice would you give to an employee on their first day of work?
You first, while it's your first day of work, the time that you've had between confirming your acceptance of the offer to
Mm-hmm.
joining, spend that time in understanding the organization, speaking with either your boss or your team members or the leaders over there. What is the challenges? So already parallelly start planning for the next 3 months of what you're going to do. I think be ready to have that plan from your side, whether it's training, what are the skill sets that you might need to acquire newly. So yeah, while it's day one, come in like it's your day 90, and what the next 90 days are going to look like in the organization. Yeah.
Superb. A very different perspective, but a very progressive perspective, I would say here. I mean, just understand it in advance and, keep yourself in a place where you're more responsible towards your roles and responsibilities. Right. So, if you could not work in this industry, in the marketing industry, so what profession would you pursue?
I think I absolutely love the world of marketing. And that's why now, as I said, I'm working with multiple brands in different categories because I think just being part of one category doesn't do justice to what I want to do. And if I wasn't in the marketing world, I definitely would have opened my own travel agency
Oh,
and would have become a traveler or a travel company that takes a group of people to the unknown destinations. So I think that's something I would have enjoyed. But I do that while I don't have a travel company. I do that for myself. I love traveling. So yeah, trying to fulfill it either ways.
that's interesting. That's very different. That's a different, personality trait which just came through this. Awesome. When are you most productive?
Early in the morning. So, typically everybody rushes to get ready and reach office. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I've realized that if I take a pause in the morning, have at least half an hour to myself after all the necessary activities of, getting up, brushing your teeth, and the regular hygiene activities. I think having half an hour to yourself to read the mails, to really plan for the day before you rush out to office or start work, I think has been very productive for me because then I'm not coming into work really dazed and I already know the priorities as much as possible. I think that half an hour before I get ready is very important to me.
So I'm a firm believer in the slow start in the morning. So what you said is actually going aligned with that. Just give yourself time to absorb the day, and then eventually you move ahead forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings in a lot more efficiency and more clarity, and without the pressure of,
Yeah,
going all over the place and then figuring
that's
it
very
out.
important. I mean, you be persistent, but without any pressure. So that releases the pressure early in the morning.
Yeah, and I think it makes me a better person too. Like your mood is better, even if it's a
Yeah.
bad day, you kind of know it's going to be a bad day, so you're
Yeah.
prepared for it. So I think you'll be a better person also, if not anything else.
You reflect a lot early in the morning because there is no rush, there is no disturbance. So that gives you a total me time for you.
Absolutely.
So what would you change about yourself?
I think change for me is constant. I would always want to continue and grow. I wouldn't want to be, while I want a lot of myself to stay there, it should grow and groom. And it should be something that I evolve continuously. So, definitely, right now, I'm trying to find out the more, entrepreneurial side of me, entrepreneurial rather, which is about who I really am without any baggage, and work on my strengths a lot more without any baggage. So I think this time is really helping me become a stronger person, so that my future work roles have that strength coming in. I think it does give you the clarity of who you want to be, and definitely I would like to enhance my EQ capability a lot more, because the workforce that is coming into the organization really needs it. That they've seen a lot, and they're very different, and it's very exciting to be working with a younger generation. So understand them a lot more, and make sure that you learn from them as well. So looking at the younger generation, I think some of those qualities is something that I would love to see in me.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
I think one is be a lot more fearless. At that point, I thought I was doing enough to break out of the mold, to break out. So the generation I come from is like a rebel generation. So it took a lot to become a person of your own. But I think I'm very happy how far I've come. But at the same time, I think take a lot more bolder steps earlier on, and not be afraid a lot more. Some of those things I've had, so I wouldn't say that I wasn't this. I think that's the reason why I'm here. But probably 10x that to because it really helps today even more. As I said, the younger generation already has those qualities, but for us, we really had that as a different point of view. It was not within the bracket, and probably should have lived on my own in more countries. I think that's something that I couldn't do or didn't do, and I think living on your own in different countries is something which teaches you a lot. So that's something I would have liked to do. Maybe hopefully in the future I do.
I want you to speak for the viewers and the people who are aspiring to become a marketer. So what is your message for an aspiring marketer?
I think first is marketing is open to judgment, right? If you're a celebrity, you have to be open to criticism. You have to be open to, today, even more so with social media. Similar is marketing. It puts your work out there, open to judgment every day. And everybody has a different point of view. So I think just being open-minded enough to face criticism, judgment, opinions, I think that attitude you should have. You should love the idea of creating something new, undoing it, doing it all over again. At the same time, I really believe again that the marketer needs to have a sound data insight and data understanding mindset. So it's not like they can do away with that. So I think these two things, where the inherent passion and attitude comes in, that's very critical to marketing, because it's not a black and white role. You should have it, or you should hone that side of you, or early on understand that this is not for you, because you cannot fake being a great marketer. I don't think you can. And this combination, as I was talking through the interview, of understanding the black and white world, but painting a picture which is beautiful. I think that skill, if you hone, it just puts you in a better spot. And while you're a specialist, try to become a generalist. Today, a lot of kids are probably doing only performance marketing or only content. That's great if that's the future they want to see. But if you want to become a CMO, if you want to become a larger piece in the world of marketing, it's important to be a generalist in the marketing field, because media might change, right? Today, print and radio does not exist. At one point, there were large budgets for a marketer. Yeah. TVs become minimal. So being media, just a particular kind of media sort of savviness does not help. So make sure that you're generalist, you understand the fundamentals of marketing, and the media that is in vogue or something that's being used, you have an understanding of, but you keep changing that and growing that. So yeah, these are some of the things that I really think you should imbibe as a marketer to be successful in a leadership role going forward.
Superb. And in one line, you have actually portrayed the whole marketing scenario, which is I literally loved it. Understanding the black and white scenario and, painting the beautiful picture. And that is what, marketing is all about, combining the black and white side and, presenting it in a colorful picture side. So I think you have just explained everything with that one line. So it was wonderful having you, Smita, and it was a privilege to host you. And thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your valuable knowledge and time with us here, Smita.
Thank you so much, Devleena. It was really interesting. I think your questions were quite deep, and hopefully, I was able to, convey my learnings and experiences. And I really hope that people who are watching this are able to take something interesting out of it.
Yes, and it has actually. There are a lot of takeaways, and it's personally for me as well. Being an entrepreneur, I keep picking up, from each and every conversations, and I have so much. I have a list here ready with me, to go back and look to all the knowledge points and insights for me as well. So thanks for all that.
Thank you.